Hey everyone, how's it going? Yesterday, Konami finally announced what they were doing with the Silent Hill franchise. This is the first official news of any kind we've heard about Silent Hill since they released and then cancelled the PT demo over 7 years ago. That was all the way back in 2015, and the last game they actually finished and released was Silent Hill Downpour in 2012. The franchise basically skipped the entire last console generation apart from that PT demo, and with the amount of information we got yesterday, it seems like they were busy that entire time. So in this video, we're going to quickly go over everything they announced in what they've called a Silent Hill transmission, and we'll talk about why I unfortunately likely won't be able to enjoy any of that content. The first thing they showed us was far and away the most exciting news we received in the entire transmission, and that is that they are in fact working on a full remake of Silent Hill 2, which is by far the most popular game in the franchise and one of the highest acclaimed horror games of all time. This is meant to be on the same scale as a Resident Evil 2 or 3 remake or the upcoming remakes of Dead Space or Resident Evil 4, is being redone from the ground up by Blooper Team, the studio behind Layers of Fear among other games. It's worth noting that there are some people who are a little uncertain about this decision. As far as I'm aware, this is the biggest project that team has worked on in their history, and Blooper Team has a distinct lack of Hideo Kojima on their team, but given the games the studio has worked on in the past, they're probably the best studio for the job. All of their games are rooted in psychological horror, which is exactly what Silent Hill is. If I were looking for a team to remake the game and I couldn't get Hideo Kojima, that experience would absolutely be at the top of my priority list, and Blooper Team has it in spades. They also just have a fun studio name that I like. Blooper Team. It's fun. So I'm not upset or worried about their experience or anything like that. What I am upset about is that it's already been confirmed that Silent Hill 2 Remake is exclusive to the PlayStation 5. Not just Sony consoles, PlayStation 5 is not playable on last gen at all. The game is also releasing on PC via Steam, but the release for the Xbox Series S and X aren't guaranteed. There's some reporting that it's only going to be a timed exclusive and will come to Microsoft consoles after a year, but I haven't been able to confirm that officially. As far as I'm aware, it's not coming to my platform of choice ever, or for at least a year if not longer. And that puts me in a really tough position, to be honest. I love horror games and I love covering them on the channel here, but do I really want to buy another console to play this one game? If it's only a timed exclusive, I could wait it out, but then making content on the game is basically impossible, especially if they continue this relationship and all future Silent Hill games are also exclusive to PlayStation. Playing on PC for me isn't ideal at all, so then what? Even if I wanted to buy a PlayStation, they're completely out of stock everywhere, still. There isn't an official release date for this game yet, but with how good the trailer they showed us looked, and since they said they've been working on the game for 3 years at this point, I would hope that it would come out within the next year or two. So I at least have some time to figure out what exactly I'm going to do, but wouldn't it have just been nice if it just released on every platform at the same time? That would have been infinitely better for the players, but Konami has to Konami, I guess. My complaints about exclusivity aside, a remake for Silent Hill 2 was somehow not the only game they announced yesterday. There was not one but 2 different games also announced during the Silent Hill transmission, called Silent Hill Downpour and Silent Hill F. Unfortunately, we didn't get to learn much about either of these 2 projects aside from a brief teaser trailer for each, but they look interesting enough. Given we don't have much information about either, I assume we'll get to play those after the Silent Hill 2 remake, so I'm just not going to worry about these until later. But there is content releasing in the immediate future that you can worry about because they're also releasing 2 projects that aren't even video games. The first is Silent Hill Ascension, which is some kind of interactive media that will allow players to actively shape the lore of the Silent Hill universe. To be honest, I'm not familiar at all with media of this kind, and we don't have a whole lot of information about this project specifically other than a website and that the event, quote-unquote, will be happening sometime next year, which is also unfortunately the only concrete release day we have for anything they showed, and it's not even very concrete, it's an entire year. So no month or date for the start of things, it can happen literally any time next year. It's something for fans to keep an eye on, but not something I'm gonna have to worry about just yet. The other project is the return to the silver screen. They're making another Silent Hill movie from the same director that made the first Silent Hill movie back in 2006. They're just in the pre-production phase for a story allegedly based on the first game, but we're not going to see anything for a long while. But it's cool that they're doing something here. And that was basically it for everything they announced. The only other thing they talked about was a line of Silent Hill merchandise, so if you wanted to get something cool like a statue of Pyramid Head, James Sunderland, or a Shiba Inu wearing a headset, you can get them. Eventually. That's kind of the ethos of this whole announcement. Things are coming, eventually. Everything they announced looked very cool, and despite the exclusivity, I'm excited about all of it. I just don't like having to wait for it. With how long it's been since a new Silent Hill game, having to wait even longer for a new one is just brutal. Even just having a release date for the Silent Hill 2 remake would have been fantastic, but I'd rather they keep their options open than commit to a release date too early and have to delay the game or release something unfinished. The only thing I'm worried about so far is what the PlayStation exclusivity is going to mean for myself as a player and content creator. I don't want to have to buy a PS5 to make videos on the game. I'd strongly prefer to play on my Series X, and I absolutely don't want to buy a PlayStation and then end up getting Silent Hill games on both PlayStation and then later for my Xbox. But it seems like I have a long while to figure out what I'm gonna do there at least. So in the meantime, I'll just be happy another legendary survival horror franchise has been resurrected, and prepare for the Resident Evil showcase happening today because oh my god, there's so much happening right now. Silent Hill, Resident Evil, and Halo release video updates within days of each other. A new Call of Duty comes out literally next week, along with a new Resident Evil 8 DLC. I'm not even gonna have time to play Scorn, which releases tomorrow? October, man. It's the best time of the year. But those are just my thoughts. Of course, let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Like the video if you made it this far. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.